The morning mist hung heavy over the cobblestone streets of London as William Shields adjusted his uniform collar for the third time that hour. The year was 1936, and the weight of responsibility pressed down on his shoulders like the dense fog that seemed to permanently shroud the capital. At 28 years old, William had already earned a reputation as one of the most dedicated and observant members of the Royal Protection Service, a distinction that had not come easily in a world where tradition and protocol ruled supreme. William's journey to this prestigious position had been anything but conventional. Born in the industrial heart of Manchester to a family of modest means, he had learned early that success required more than just good intentions. His father, Thomas Shields, worked the night shift at a textile mill, his hands permanently stained with the dyes that colored fabric for the wealthy, while his own family wore patched and mended clothes. His mother, Eleanor, took in washing and mending to supplement the family income, her fingers moving with practiced precision as she repaired the garments of those who could afford to be careless with their possessions. The Shields household was one where every penny was counted twice, and every opportunity was seized with both hands. William's parents had instilled in him the value of hard work and attention to detail, qualities that would prove invaluable in his future career. As a child, he had spent countless hours watching his mother examine each piece of clothing that came into their home, checking every seam, every button, every thread for imperfections that needed correction. This meticulous nature would later become his trademark in the security services. Education had been a luxury the family could barely afford, but William's sharp mind and natural curiosity had caught the attention of a local schoolmaster, who took it upon himself to provide additional instruction after regular school hours. Under this guidance, William developed not only his academic skills, but also his ability to observe and analyze situations with remarkable clarity. He learned to read not just words on a page, but the subtle signs that people revealed through their posture, their expressions, and their choices of words. When William turned 18, the Great War was still fresh in everyone's memory, and the country was struggling to rebuild itself both physically and emotionally. Jobs were scarce, especially for young men from working-class backgrounds who lacked the connections that opened doors for their more privileged counterparts. However, William's combination of intelligence, determination, and an almost supernatural ability to notice things that others missed eventually led to an opportunity that would change his life forever. A retired military officer who had been impressed by William's character during a chance encounter at a local employment office recommended him for a position with a private security firm that specialized in protecting wealthy merchants and their families. The work was challenging and often dangerous, requiring long hours of vigilance and the ability to anticipate threats before they materialized. William threw himself into this role with characteristic dedication, studying every aspect of personal protection and security protocols. His reputation grew steadily as he successfully prevented several attempts at robbery and fraud through his keen observation skills and quick thinking. Clients began specifically requesting him for their most important events and sensitive situations. Word of his abilities eventually reached the ears of officials within the Royal Protection Service, who were always on the lookout for individuals with exceptional skills and unquestionable loyalty. The recruitment process for the Royal Protection Service was rigorous and secretive. William underwent months of background checks, psychological evaluations, and practical tests designed to assess not only his technical abilities but also his character and discretion. The service required individuals who could blend into various social situations while maintaining constant vigilance, people who could be trusted with state secrets and royal family private matters without question. William's working-class background, rather than being a disadvantage, actually proved to be an asset. His superiors recognized that his humble origins had taught him to observe the world from a different perspective than those born into privilege. He understood how ordinary people thought and behaved, which made him particularly effective at identifying potential threats from unexpected sources. His ability to move comfortably among people from all walks of life made him invaluable for undercover assignments and situations requiring discreet intelligence gathering. The training program was intensive and comprehensive, covering everything from advanced combat techniques to diplomatic protocol. William learned to shoot with deadly accuracy, to defend against multiple attackers, and to coordinate complex security operations. But perhaps more importantly, he developed an even sharper understanding of human psychology and the subtle signs that indicated when someone harbored malicious intentions. His first assignment with the Royal Protection Service involved providing security for minor royal events and public appearances. These occasions allowed him to observe and learn from more experienced officers, while gradually building his reputation within the organization. William's attention to detail and ability to anticipate problems before they occurred quickly set him apart from his colleagues. One particular incident during his second year of service demonstrated his exceptional abilities and earned him recognition from the highest levels of the organization. During a royal garden party at Buckingham Palace, William noticed a server whose behavior seemed slightly off. While everyone else was focused on the obvious security concerns, William observed subtle inconsistencies in the man's movements and interactions with other staff members. Rather than immediately raising an alarm, William discreetly investigated further, following the server through the palace corridors and documenting his activities. His patience and thoroughness paid off when he discovered that the man was actually a journalist who had infiltrated the event to gather information for a scandalous story about the royal family. The prevention of this potential embarrassment to the crown earned William commendations and marked him as someone destined for greater responsibilities. As his career progressed, William was assigned increasingly sensitive and high-profile cases. He developed a network of informants and contacts throughout London's various social circles, from the wealthy elite to the criminal underworld. This diverse range of connections proved invaluable in gathering intelligence about potential threats to the royal family and other protected individuals. The political climate of the 1930s was particularly challenging for those in the security services. The rise of fascism in Europe, growing social unrest at home, and the complex web of international politics created an environment where threats could emerge from unexpected directions. Traditional enemies were no longer the only concern. Ideological extremists, foreign agents, and domestic agitators all posed potential dangers to the stability of the monarchy and the government. William's role evolved to include not just personal protection, but also intelligence gathering and threat assessment. He spent considerable time analyzing reports from various sources, identifying patterns and connections that might indicate emerging threats. His ability to see the bigger picture, while maintaining focus on specific details, made him particularly effective in this expanded role. The relationship between the monarchy and the people was also undergoing significant changes during this period. The economic hardships following the war had created resentment among some segments of the population, and there were growing calls for political reform and social change. The royal family, while still generally respected, was no longer viewed with the unquestioning reverence of previous generations. This changing dynamic required security personnel to be more aware of public sentiment and to adapt their protective strategies accordingly. William's understanding of working-class perspectives and his ability to blend into different social environments made him particularly valuable in assessing the mood of various communities and identifying potential sources of unrest. His personal life during this period was necessarily limited by the demands of his profession. The nature of his work required absolute discretion and often irregular hours, making it difficult to maintain close relationships outside of his professional circle. William accepted these sacrifices as part of his duty, understanding that his role required complete dedication to the service of the crown. The few close relationships he did maintain were with fellow officers and individuals who understood the unique challenges of his profession. These friendships were built on mutual respect and shared experiences rather than casual social interactions. William found companionship and support within this tight-knit community of dedicated professionals who had chosen service over personal comfort. As 1936 progressed, William found himself increasingly involved in security planning for Prince George, Duke of Kent, who was fourth in line to the throne and known for his active social life and international connections. The prince's lifestyle and associations presented unique security challenges that required careful coordination and constant vigilance. Prince George was a complex figure who moved easily between royal duties and a more bohemian social circle that included artists, writers, and intellectuals. His friendships and romantic relationships often crossed traditional social boundaries, creating situations that required discreet management to avoid potential scandals or security risks. William's assignment to Prince George's security detail was both an honor and a significant challenge. The prince's unpredictable schedule, diverse social connections, and sometimes impulsive behavior required security personnel to be extremely adaptable and resourceful. Traditional protective protocols had to be modified to accommodate the prince's lifestyle while maintaining adequate security coverage. The relationship between William and Prince George developed gradually into one of mutual respect and understanding. The prince appreciated William's discreet professionalism and his ability to provide security without being intrusive or limiting. William, in turn, came to understand and respect the prince's genuine commitment to his royal duties despite his unconventional approach to royal life. This growing relationship would prove crucial as events began to unfold that would test both men's character and dedication. The international situation was becoming increasingly tense, with growing concerns about the intentions of various European powers and the potential for conflict. Intelligence reports indicated that foreign agents were operating in London, seeking to gather information about the royal family and the British government's plans and capabilities. Within this complex and dangerous environment, William continued to perform his duties with the same dedication and attention to detail that had brought him to this position. He maintained his network of contacts, analyzed intelligence reports, and coordinated security operations with his characteristic thoroughness and professionalism. The stage was being set for events that would challenge everything William had learned about security and protection. Unknown to him, messages were already being passed through shadowy networks, plans were being made in foreign capitals, and individuals with dangerous intentions were beginning to move into position. As William prepared for what he assumed would be another routine day of protecting Prince George, he had no idea that his skills, experience, and dedication were about to be tested in ways he had never imagined. The morning mist that shrouded London seemed almost prophetic, concealing dangers that were already closer than anyone realized. The combination of his working-class background, extensive training, natural abilities, and growing understanding of Prince George's world had prepared William for many challenges, but the events that were about to unfold would require every skill he had developed and test the limits of his dedication to duty and crown. The autumn of 1936 brought with it an undercurrent of tension that seemed to permeate every corner of London society. William Shields had learned to read these subtle shifts in atmosphere like a weatherman reads clouds, and what he observed in the weeks following his assignment to Prince George's security detail troubled him deeply. The city that had once felt familiar and manageable now seemed to harbor secrets in every shadow and whispered conversation. Prince George's daily routine had become increasingly complex as his official duties expanded and his social obligations multiplied. The Duke of Kent was not content to simply perform ceremonial functions. He actively engaged with various cultural and philanthropic organizations, maintained extensive correspondence with international contacts, and hosted frequent gatherings that brought together an eclectic mix of British and foreign guests. William's responsibility extended far beyond simply accompanying the prince to public events. He had become the coordinator of a comprehensive security operation that required constant communication with multiple agencies, careful vetting of every person who came into contact with the prince, and detailed analysis of potential threats from both domestic and foreign sources. The intelligence reports that crossed William's desk each morning painted an increasingly concerning picture of international tensions and domestic unrest. Nazi Germany's aggressive expansion was causing alarm throughout Europe, and there were growing indications that German agents were operating in Britain, seeking to gather intelligence and potentially recruit sympathizers. The British government's response to these threats was still developing, leaving security personnel to navigate an uncertain and rapidly changing landscape. William's network of informants had expanded significantly since his assignment to Prince George's detail. He maintained contacts within London's German expatriate community, monitored the activities of various political organizations, and tracked the movements of foreign diplomats and visitors. This intelligence-gathering operation required careful coordination to avoid revealing the sources and methods being employed while still providing actionable information to protect the prince and other members of the royal family. The social events that Prince George attended presented particular security challenges due to their informal nature and diverse guest lists. Unlike formal state functions where protocol dictated every interaction, these gatherings often involved spontaneous conversations and unexpected encounters that could not be fully controlled or predicted. William had to develop new strategies for maintaining security while preserving the relaxed atmosphere that the prince valued. One of the most significant challenges William faced was the prince's extensive correspondence with contacts throughout Europe. The Duke of Kent maintained friendships and professional relationships with individuals in Germany, France, Italy, and other countries where political situations were becoming increasingly volatile. Each letter that arrived had to be carefully screened, not just for immediate threats but for intelligence value and potential implications for British foreign policy. The screening process involved collaboration with experts in various fields, including linguists who could detect subtle meanings in foreign correspondence, handwriting analysts who could identify forgeries or signs of coercion, and intelligence specialists who understood the broader context of international communications. This comprehensive approach to mail security was relatively new and required constant refinement as new threats and techniques were discovered. William's own education continued throughout this period as he worked closely with specialists from different government departments. He learned to recognize the hallmarks of various intelligence services, understood the techniques used by foreign agents to recruit assets and gather information, and developed an appreciation for the complex web of relationships that connected European aristocracy and political circles. The prince's romantic relationships added another layer of complexity to the security situation. His involvement with various women, some of whom had connections to foreign countries or questionable backgrounds, required discreet investigation and ongoing monitoring. William had to balance the prince's right to privacy with the need to protect both him and the broader royal family from potential scandals or security breaches. One relationship that particularly concerned William was the prince's friendship with a charming Austrian woman who had recently arrived in London claiming to be a refugee from the political turmoil in her homeland. Her background story seemed plausible, and her connections to Austrian aristocracy appeared legitimate. But something about her manner and the questions she asked during social conversations raised William's suspicions. The investigation into this woman's background required delicate handling to avoid alerting her to the scrutiny, while gathering enough information to assess any potential threat she might represent. William coordinated with contacts in various European capitals, requesting information about her family and previous activities while maintaining the cover story that this was routine background checking for social access to royal circles. The results of this investigation revealed a complex web of connections that extended far beyond what the woman had disclosed. While there was no direct evidence of malicious intent, her associations with individuals who had known connections to German intelligence services raised significant red flags. William found himself walking a tightrope between protecting the prince and avoiding accusations of paranoia or overreach. The decision to share his concerns with Prince George required careful consideration of both the evidence and the prince's likely reaction. William had observed that the Duke of Kent valued honest counsel, but could be resistant to suggestions that seemed to impinge on his personal freedom or question his judgment about people. The conversation, when it finally took place, demonstrated both men's commitment to duty while revealing the personal costs of living under constant security concerns. Prince George's response to the security briefing showed both understanding and frustration. He appreciated William's diligence and the thoroughness of the investigation, but he also expressed weariness at the constant suspicion that seemed to surround every aspect of his personal life. The conversation deepened their professional relationship while highlighting the isolation that came with royal position and the security measures required to protect it. The resolution of the Austrian woman's situation involved discreet measures to limit her access to sensitive information while avoiding any actions that might reveal the investigation or cause diplomatic complications. William arranged for subtle changes in social arrangements and security protocols that effectively contained any potential threat without directly confronting the individual involved. This experience reinforced William's understanding that modern security threats were often subtle and ambiguous rather than direct and obvious. The days when protection primarily involved watching for armed attackers or obvious enemies were giving way to a new era where threats might come from seemingly friendly sources and where intelligence gathering was as important as physical protection. The lessons learned from this and similar incidents led William to advocate for expanded security protocols that addressed the changing nature of potential threats. He worked with his superiors to develop new procedures for vetting social contacts, monitoring communications, and coordinating with intelligence services to ensure that security measures kept pace with evolving threats. As winter approached, William noticed an increase in suspicious activities around locations frequented by Prince George and other members of the royal family. There were reports of individuals conducting surveillance, unusual interest in staff schedules and security arrangements, and attempts to gather information about upcoming events and travel plans. These activities suggested a coordinated effort to gather intelligence for purposes that could only be hostile. The investigation into these activities required coordination with multiple agencies and jurisdictions. William found himself working closely with Metropolitan Police Intelligence Units, MI5 officers, and security personnel from other government departments to piece together a complete picture of the threat. The complexity of the investigation reflected the sophisticated nature of the operation they were attempting to uncover. Evidence began to accumulate that suggested a foreign intelligence service was conducting a systematic effort to gather information about the British royal family's security arrangements, daily routines, and personal relationships. The sophistication of the operation indicated significant resources and professional training, pointing toward state sponsorship rather than individual or group initiative. William's role in this investigation expanded beyond his original responsibilities as Prince George's protection officer. His knowledge of the prince's routines and contacts, combined with his growing expertise in counterintelligence operations, made him a valuable asset in the broader effort to identify and neutralize the threat. The investigation revealed that the operation was more extensive than initially believed, with tentacles reaching into various levels of British society. Foreign agents had apparently succeeded in recruiting assets among domestic staff, social acquaintances, and even some individuals with legitimate access to royal circles. The discovery of this network sent shockwaves through the security establishment and led to a comprehensive review of protection protocols. William's detection and analysis of these security breaches earned him recognition within the intelligence community and led to his assignment to a special task force responsible for counterintelligence operations related to royal protection. This appointment represented a significant expansion of his responsibilities and recognition of his unique combination of skills and experience. The psychological pressure of these revelations was considerable for everyone involved in royal protection. The realization that threats could come from trusted individuals and that hostile intelligence services were actively working to compromise royal security created an atmosphere of constant vigilance and suspicion that was emotionally draining for all concerned. For Prince George, these developments represented a particularly difficult adjustment. The discovery that some individuals he had considered friends or at least friendly acquaintances were actually involved in hostile intelligence operations was personally devastating and professionally concerning. The prince's response to these revelations would test his character and his commitment to his royal duties. William found himself in the position of not only protecting the prince physically, but also providing emotional support during a period of significant stress and uncertainty. The relationship between protector and protected deepened as they worked together to navigate the complex challenges posed by the security threats while maintaining the prince's ability to perform his official duties. The coordination required to address these threats while maintaining operational security was enormously complex. Information had to be shared on a need-to-know basis, operations had to be conducted without alerting hostile agents to the extent of British knowledge, and countermeasures had to be implemented without disrupting legitimate activities or relationships. As the investigation continued, William began to piece together indications that something significant was being planned. The pattern of intelligence gathering suggested preparation for a specific operation rather than routine information collection. The timing and focus of the hostile activities pointed toward an event or situation that would require detailed knowledge of royal security arrangements and personal schedules. The race to identify and prevent this potential threat would test every skill William had developed and every relationship he had cultivated during his career in royal protection. The winter of 1936 descended upon London with unusual severity, bringing not only bitter cold, but also an atmosphere of mounting international tension that seemed to chill the very air. William Shields found himself working longer hours and sleeping less as the intelligence gathered from various sources began to coalesce into a disturbing picture of coordinated hostile activity directed against the British royal family. The special task force to which William had been assigned operated out of a nondescript building in Whitehall, its existence known only to a select few within the government and security services. The team brought together expertise from multiple disciplines, including intelligence analysis, foreign languages, surveillance techniques, and counter-espionage operations. William's unique position as both a protection officer and an intelligence gatherer made him an invaluable member of this elite group. The evidence that had been accumulating over the previous months pointed increasingly toward German intelligence services as the primary source of the hostile activities. The sophistication of the operations, the resources being deployed, and the specific intelligence targets all bore the hallmarks of professional intelligence work backed by significant state resources. What remained unclear was the ultimate objective of this extensive intelligence-gathering operation. Analysis of the collected evidence revealed several possible scenarios, each more concerning than the last. The intelligence being sought could be intended to support an assassination attempt, a kidnapping operation, or some form of political manipulation designed to influence British foreign policy. The broad scope of the information gathering suggested that multiple contingencies were being prepared for, indicating a highly sophisticated and well-resourced operation. William's daily routine now involved not only his protection duties with Prince George, but also participation in task force meetings, analysis sessions, and coordination activities with other government agencies. The demands of this dual role were considerable, requiring him to maintain his cover as a simple protection officer while actually functioning as a key intelligence operative. The challenge of maintaining operational security while conducting an extensive investigation created numerous complications. Every action had to be evaluated not only for its effectiveness in gathering information, but also for its potential to alert hostile agents that their activities had been detected. This delicate balance required constant communication and coordination among team members to ensure that individual actions supported rather than compromised the overall investigation. Prince George's cooperation with the enhanced security measures was essential to the success of the operation, but it required careful management to maintain his ability to perform his royal duties effectively. The prince had to be briefed on enough information to understand the seriousness of the situation without being given details that might compromise operational security or cause him unnecessary anxiety about specific threats. The briefing sessions with Prince George revealed his character in ways that impressed William and strengthened their working relationship. The Duke of Kent demonstrated both courage and wisdom in his response to the security situation, accepting restrictions on his activities without complaint and offering insights about his contacts and relationships that proved valuable to the investigation. The prince's extensive social network, which had initially been viewed primarily as a security challenge, proved to be a valuable intelligence asset when properly managed. His relationships with various European nobles and political figures provided opportunities to gather information about political developments and potential threats that would not have been available through traditional intelligence channels. William worked closely with the prince to develop strategies for using these social connections to gather intelligence while maintaining the prince's safety and the security of the investigation. This required sophisticated planning to ensure that conversations and interactions appeared natural while actually serving specific intelligence objectives. The coordination required for these operations was enormously complex, involving not only the task force members, but also various other government agencies and departments. Each social event attended by Prince George required extensive advanced planning, including security arrangements, communication protocols, and contingency plans for various potential scenarios. One of the most significant challenges faced by the team was the discovery that several members of the prince's regular social circle appeared to be either witting or unwitting participants in the hostile intelligence operation. This revelation required delicate handling to avoid alerting other potential assets while gathering information about the extent and nature of their involvement. The investigation into these individuals revealed the sophisticated nature of the recruitment and handling techniques being employed by the hostile intelligence service. Some individuals appeared to have been recruited through ideological appeals, others through financial incentives, and still others through compromise or blackmail. The variety of approaches suggested a professional operation with significant resources and expertise. William's background and training proved particularly valuable in assessing these recruitment patterns and developing strategies for either turning these assets or neutralizing their effectiveness without compromising the broader investigation. His understanding of human psychology and motivation, combined with his knowledge of intelligence techniques, made him effective at evaluating individual cases and recommending appropriate action. The emotional toll of these discoveries was considerable for everyone involved, but particularly for Prince George, who found himself questioning relationships and friendships that he had valued for years. The realization that people he trusted had been reporting on his activities and relationships to hostile intelligence services was both personally devastating and professionally concerning. William found himself serving not only as a protector and intelligence operative, but also as an informal counselor, helping the prince work through the psychological impact of these revelations while maintaining his effectiveness in performing royal duties. This aspect of their relationship required sensitivity and discretion, as the prince needed to maintain his public composure while dealing with significant personal stress. The investigation gradually revealed the structure and objectives of the hostile intelligence operation. The evidence indicated that information was being gathered to support multiple potential operations, including possible attempts to compromise or eliminate key members of the royal family. The sophistication of the planning suggested that these were not merely contingency plans, but active preparations for operations that could be implemented on short notice. Analysis of communication intercepts and surveillance reports revealed that the hostile operation was being directed from Berlin but involved assets and resources in multiple European countries. The international scope of the operation indicated significant investment in planning, suggesting that the ultimate objectives were of major strategic importance to German intelligence services. The discovery of the operation's international scope led to expanded cooperation with intelligence services in friendly countries, as well as enhanced coordination with British diplomatic missions abroad. This international dimension added complexity to the investigation, but also provided opportunities to gather additional information and potentially disrupt hostile activities in multiple locations. As the investigation progressed, William began to detect signs that the hostile operation was moving from the intelligence gathering phase to active preparation for some form of direct action. Changes in communication patterns, shifts in surveillance activities, and alterations in the behavior of known assets all suggested that a significant operation was being prepared. The timeline for this potential operation appeared to be linked to upcoming royal events and activities, particularly those involving international travel or public appearances by Prince George and other senior members of the royal family. The correlation between the intelligence gathering activities and the royal schedule suggested that detailed knowledge of security arrangements and personal schedules was crucial to whatever was being planned. William's analysis of the available intelligence led him to conclude that the most likely scenario involved an attempt to compromise or eliminate Prince George during a public appearance or international trip. The specific nature of the intelligence being sought and the timing of the operation's development supported this assessment, although other possibilities could not be completely ruled out. The challenge of protecting Prince George while maintaining the investigation required careful balancing of competing priorities. Enhanced security measures could potentially alert hostile agents that their operation had been detected, but inadequate protection could expose the prince to unacceptable risks. The solution involved implementing security enhancements that appeared to be routine updates or responses to general security concerns rather than specific threats. This approach required extensive coordination with other royal protection details to ensure that changes appeared to be part of system-wide improvements rather than responses to specific intelligence. William's role in implementing these security enhancements required him to work closely with his colleagues in the Royal Protection Service while maintaining the security of his other responsibilities with the task force. This dual role created additional stress and complexity but was essential to maintaining the effectiveness of both the protection and investigation operations. The psychological pressure on all team members was considerable as the investigation revealed the extent and sophistication of the hostile operation. The realization that the royal family had been under sustained intelligence attack for months or possibly years was sobering for everyone involved in their protection. For William personally, the investigation represented both the culmination of his career development and preparation for his most significant challenge. All of his training, experience, and natural abilities were being tested in a situation that combined personal protection, intelligence work, and counter-espionage operations in ways that few security professionals had ever experienced. The relationship between William and Prince George continued to evolve under the pressure of these circumstances. Their mutual respect and understanding deepened as they worked together to address the security challenges while maintaining the prince's ability to serve the crown effectively. This partnership would prove crucial as events moved toward their climax. As winter gave way to spring, the signs that a significant operation was approaching became unmistakable. The question was no longer whether something would happen, but when and how it would unfold. William and his colleagues faced the challenge of staying ahead of their adversaries while protecting not only Prince George but potentially the entire royal family from threats that were still evolving and not fully understood. The spring of 1937 brought with it a sense of urgency that permeated every aspect of William Shield's work. The intelligence gathered over the previous months had crystallized into a clear picture of an imminent threat, and the race to identify and prevent the hostile operation had become a matter of national security. The stakes could not have been higher, as failure might result in not only personal tragedy, but also international consequences that could affect the stability of the British government and its relationships with other nations. The task force's analysis had narrowed down the most likely scenarios to a coordinated attack during one of Prince George's upcoming public appearances. The intelligence gathering had focused particularly on events that would bring the prince into contact with large crowds, or require him to follow predictable routes and schedules. The sophistication of the planning suggested that the hostile operation had been designed to exploit specific vulnerabilities in royal protection protocols. William's expertise in both protection and intelligence work had made him the natural coordinator for the enhanced security measures being implemented around Prince George's activities. This role required him to work seamlessly with multiple agencies while maintaining the appearance that these were routine security updates rather than responses to specific threats. The challenge of maintaining operational security while preparing comprehensive defenses was enormous. Every security enhancement had to be carefully evaluated to ensure it provided real protection, without revealing the extent of British knowledge about the hostile operation. This delicate balance required constant communication among team members and careful coordination with other government agencies. Prince George's scheduled appearance at a charity gala in central London had emerged as the most likely target for the hostile operation. The event would bring together a large number of prominent political and social figures, require the prince to follow a predictable schedule, and involve movement through areas that would be difficult to completely secure. The combination of these factors made it an attractive target for those planning some form of attack. The security planning for this event involved far more than the typical royal protection protocols. William worked with specialists from various agencies to develop comprehensive plans that addressed not only direct physical threats, but also potential compromise operations, intelligence gathering activities, and broader political implications of any incident. The investigation had revealed that several individuals with access to the event planning process were either witting or unwitting assets of the hostile intelligence service. This discovery required careful management to avoid alerting these individuals while ensuring that their access to sensitive information was controlled and their activities were monitored. William's role in managing these compromised individuals was particularly challenging, as he had to balance the need to gather intelligence about their activities and contacts with the requirement to prevent them from providing useful information to their handlers. This involved developing false or misleading information that could be passed through these channels while protecting genuine security arrangements. The psychological pressure on Prince George during this period was considerable, as he was aware that his life was potentially in danger while being required to maintain his public schedule and royal duties. The prince's response to this pressure demonstrated both his personal courage and his commitment to his responsibilities, earning him increased respect from William and other security personnel. The relationship between William and Prince George had evolved into one of genuine partnership during this crisis. The prince's trust in William's judgment and expertise allowed for security arrangements that balanced protection requirements with the need to maintain normal royal activities. This collaboration was essential to the success of both the protection and intelligence operations. The final preparations for the charity gala required coordination among dozens of agencies and hundreds of personnel. Every aspect of the event was analyzed for potential vulnerabilities, and contingency plans were developed for various possible scenarios. The complexity of these arrangements was unprecedented in William's experience but reflected the seriousness of the threat and the determination to prevent any successful attack. Intelligence reports in the days leading up to the gala indicated increased activity among known hostile assets and suspicious individuals. Communication intercepts suggested that final preparations were being made for some form of operation, although the specific nature and timing remained unclear. The evidence pointed toward the gala as the most likely target, but other possibilities could not be completely ruled out. William's analysis of the available intelligence led him to recommend enhanced security measures that went beyond the normal protocols for such events. These recommendations were accepted by his superiors and implemented despite their potential impact on the event's atmosphere and the prince's ability to interact normally with guests. The security arrangements for the gala involved multiple layers of protection, including advanced teams that secured the venue and surrounding areas, surveillance units that monitored all approaches and potential threat sources, and close protection personnel who would accompany the prince throughout the evening. Each layer was designed to provide both deterrence and response capability for different types of potential threats. The coordination of these various security elements required sophisticated communication systems and carefully rehearsed procedures to ensure that all personnel could respond effectively to any developing situation. William served as the primary coordinator for these arrangements, drawing on his experience with both protection and intelligence work to integrate the various elements into a comprehensive security plan. The day of the gala brought heightened tension, as intelligence reports continued to suggest that some form of operation was imminent. William and his colleagues maintained constant vigilance while working to ensure that the enhanced security measures did not disrupt the event's purpose or create obvious signs that specific threats had been detected. The early hours of the gala proceeded according to plan, with Prince George arriving on schedule and beginning his interactions with guests and event organizers. The security personnel maintained their positions and procedures while monitoring for any signs of suspicious activity or potential threats. William's position allowed him to observe both the prince and the broader event while maintaining communication with other security elements and monitoring intelligence updates. His years of experience had taught him to watch for subtle signs of potential problems while maintaining the relaxed demeanor necessary for such social events. The first indication that something was amiss came through intercepted communications that suggested hostile assets were moving into position around the venue. The nature of these communications indicated that an operation was beginning, although the specific target and method remained unclear. William immediately initiated enhanced security protocols while maintaining the appearance of normal activities. The challenge was to respond effectively to the developing threat without creating panic among the guests or alerting potential attackers that their operation had been detected. The coordination required to implement enhanced security measures, while maintaining the event's normal flow required split-second decision-making and flawless communication among security personnel. William's training and experience proved invaluable as he managed multiple streams of information and coordinated responses from various security elements. As the evening progressed, additional intelligence indicated that hostile personnel were attempting to infiltrate the venue or position themselves for some form of attack. The specific nature of their intentions remained unclear, but the level of activity suggested that a significant operation was underway. The decision to maintain the event while implementing enhanced security measures reflected the delicate balance between protection and maintaining normal royal activities. William's recommendations played a crucial role in this decision-making process, as his assessment of the threat level and available response capabilities informed his superiors' choices. The security personnel's response to the developing situation demonstrated the value of the extensive planning and preparation that had been conducted over the previous months. Each team member understood their role and responsibilities, allowing for coordinated action without confusion or delay. Prince George's behavior during this period demonstrated both his awareness of the situation and his commitment to maintaining his royal duties despite personal risk. His trust in the security arrangements and personnel allowed him to continue his interactions with guests while the security situation was being managed around him. The intelligence picture continued to evolve throughout the evening, as additional information became available about the hostile operation's scope and objectives. William's role in analyzing and responding to this information was crucial to the security response, as his unique combination of protection experience and intelligence training allowed him to make rapid assessments and recommendations. The culmination of months of investigation and preparation was approaching as hostile forces moved closer to implementing their operation. The effectiveness of the British response would depend on the coordination and professionalism of all involved, with William's expertise and experience serving as crucial elements in the overall defense effort. The stakes had never been higher, and the margin for error had never been smaller. Everything that William had learned and experienced during his career had prepared him for this moment, but success would require not only individual excellence, but also perfect coordination among all elements of the security response. As the evening reached its critical phase, the confrontation between the hostile operation and the British security response was about to begin. The outcome would depend on months of preparation, years of training, and the ability of dedicated professionals to perform under the most demanding circumstances possible. The climactic moment arrived with the subtle precision of a master watchmaker's mechanism clicking into place. William Shields stood at the pinnacle of his career, every sense heightened, every skill honed to perfection through years of dedicated service. The charity gala at the Royal Opera House was reaching its peak when the carefully laid plans of hostile intelligence operatives began to unfold, and with them, William's greatest challenge as a protector of the crown. The first concrete indication of immediate danger came through an encrypted message intercepted by the communications monitoring team stationed in the building adjacent to the Opera House. The message, decoded within moments by specialists who had been tracking the hostile communication network for months, contained a simple but chilling directive. Nightingale sings at midnight. Intelligence analysis had previously identified this as the code phrase that would initiate the final phase of the operation targeting Prince George. William received this critical intelligence through his discreet communication device while maintaining his position near the prince during the evening's musical performance. The irony was not lost on him that the code phrase referenced a nightingale, given their location in the opera house where beautiful voices filled the air, masking the deadly symphony of hostile intentions that was about to begin. The security response unfolded with the precision of a well-rehearsed ballet. William's hand signal to his immediate team initiated a cascade of carefully planned actions throughout the venue. Additional security personnel moved into predetermined positions. Surveillance teams intensified their monitoring of identified suspicious individuals, and emergency response units positioned themselves for rapid deployment while maintaining complete discretion. Prince George, briefed on the general security protocols but unaware of the specific timing of the threat, continued his conversations with fellow patrons during the intermission. His composure under pressure was remarkable, demonstrating the royal training that prepared members of the family to maintain their duties regardless of personal danger. William's admiration for the prince's courage and dedication had grown throughout their months of working together, and this moment crystallized his respect for the man he was sworn to protect. The hostile operation revealed its sophistication as multiple elements began moving simultaneously. Intelligence reports indicated that a primary assault team was preparing to enter the building through a service entrance that had been compromised during the venue's preparation. Secondary teams were positioning themselves to create diversions and block potential escape routes, while a tertiary element appeared to be preparing to exploit the confusion for either an extraction or elimination operation. William's analysis of the developing situation drew on every aspect of his training and experience. The hostile operations structure suggested professional military or intelligence planning, confirming the assessment that this was a state-sponsored action rather than the work of independent extremists. The implications extended far beyond Prince George's personal safety, to include potential diplomatic crises and international tensions that could destabilize European politics. The decision-making process during these critical moments required William to balance multiple competing priorities while operating under enormous time pressure. The primary objective was obviously Prince George's safety, but the broader implications required consideration of how various response options might affect international relations. The infiltration attempt by the primary assault team was detected by security personnel who had been specifically positioned to monitor the compromised service entrance. The team's approach confirmed intelligence assessments about their professional training and equipment, as they demonstrated advanced surveillance detection techniques and carried sophisticated weapons and communication equipment. William coordinated the response to this infiltration attempt, while simultaneously monitoring the broader security situation and maintaining his protective position with Prince George. The complexity of this coordination required him to process multiple streams of information, make rapid tactical decisions, and communicate effectively with various security elements without revealing the crisis to the guests attending the gala. The hostile team's attempt to access the building was neutralized through a carefully orchestrated operation that involved both overt and covert security personnel. The attackers were detained before they could reach their target, but their capture revealed the existence of contingency plans that included additional teams and alternative approaches to the primary objective. The interrogation of the captured operatives, conducted immediately by specialists who had been standing by for such a possibility, revealed crucial information about the overall operation's scope and objectives. The intelligence gathered confirmed that Prince George was indeed the primary target, but it also revealed that other members of the royal family were potential secondary targets if the primary operation failed or if opportunities presented themselves. This revelation necessitated immediate expansion of the security response to include enhanced protection for other members of the royal family who might be at risk. William's recommendations for these expanded measures were based on his analysis of the captured intelligence and his assessment of the hostile organization's capabilities and intentions. The coordination required to implement these expanded security measures while maintaining the operational security of the ongoing investigation was enormous. Multiple protection details had to be enhanced, additional surveillance resources had to be deployed, and communication protocols had to be updated to ensure effective coordination among all security elements. Prince George's reaction to being briefed on the full extent of the threat and the successful security response demonstrated both his relief and his understanding of the broader implications. The prince expressed gratitude for the professionalism and dedication of the security personnel while also acknowledging the personal sacrifice required for such service. The investigation into the captured operatives and their equipment revealed the existence of additional intelligence assets and support networks that had not been previously detected. This discovery led to an expanded counterintelligence operation designed to identify and neutralize the remaining elements of the hostile network. William's role in this expanded operation drew on his unique combination of protection experience and intelligence expertise. His analysis of the captured materials and his recommendations for follow-up actions were instrumental in guiding the broader security response and ensuring that all potential threats were addressed. The international implications of the successful security operation required careful management to avoid diplomatic complications, while ensuring that the hostile intelligence service understood that their operation had been completely compromised. This delicate balance was achieved through discreet diplomatic communications that conveyed the necessary messages without creating public controversies. The aftermath of the operation brought both recognition and reflection for William and his colleagues. The successful prevention of what could have been a catastrophic attack on a member of the royal family represented a significant victory for the British security services, but it also highlighted the ongoing nature of the threats they faced. William's performance during the crisis earned him commendations from the highest levels of government and opened new opportunities for advancement within the security services. However, his primary satisfaction came from the knowledge that he had successfully fulfilled his duty to protect Prince George and, by extension, the institution of the monarchy itself. The relationship between William and Prince George had been permanently altered by their shared experience of facing mortal danger together. The mutual respect and trust that had developed between them transcended the normal boundaries between protector and protected, creating a bond that would endure long after the immediate crisis had passed. The broader lessons learned from this operation led to significant improvements in royal protection protocols and counterintelligence procedures. William's recommendations, based on his unique perspective as both a protection officer and intelligence operative, were incorporated into new training programs and operational procedures that enhanced the security of the entire royal family. The personal cost of the operation for William was considerable, as the intense pressure and responsibility had taken a physical and emotional toll. However, his sense of accomplishment and professional satisfaction more than compensated for these sacrifices, and his dedication to his chosen career was strengthened rather than diminished by the experience. The successful conclusion of the operation also brought closure to months of investigation and preparation that had consumed William's professional life. The knowledge that the hostile intelligence network had been identified and neutralized provided him with the satisfaction of having completed a complex and dangerous mission successfully. Prince George's continued service to the crown, made possible by the successful security operation, represented the ultimate validation of William's efforts and sacrifice. The prince's ability to fulfill his royal duties without the shadow of immediate threat was the most meaningful measure of the operation's success. The intelligence gained from the operation provided valuable insights into hostile intelligence services' capabilities and intentions, contributing to broader national security efforts that extended far beyond royal protection. William's role in gathering and analyzing this intelligence had implications that reached into the highest levels of government policy and international relations. The recognition of William's exceptional service opened new paths for his career development and provided opportunities to contribute to national security in ways that extended beyond his original role as a protection officer. These opportunities represented both professional advancement and increased responsibility for protecting British interests at home and abroad. The story of William Shields and the successful protection of Prince George became a testament to the dedication and professionalism of the men and women who serve in the shadows to protect democratic institutions and the individuals who represent them. Their willingness to sacrifice personal comfort and safety for the greater good represents one of the highest forms of public service. The legacy of this operation extended beyond the immediate participants to influence the development of security and intelligence services for generations to come. The lessons learned and the procedures developed contributed to the protection of not only the royal family, but also other public figures who face similar threats in an increasingly complex and dangerous world. William's transformation from a working-class young man to a key figure in national security operations demonstrated the opportunities available in democratic societies for individuals with dedication, ability, and character. His success represented not only personal achievement, but also the effectiveness of institutions that recognize and develop talent regardless of social background. The conclusion of this dramatic chapter in William's career marked not an end, but a beginning of new challenges and opportunities to serve his country and the ideals represented by the constitutional monarchy he had sworn to protect.